Right, so this is the first day of the wild food diet that I am about to start. I've made a bone broth overnight just so that I can have something to drink this morning and give me some nourishment ready for the day ahead. Now I put some venison bones in there, some spinal bone, some smoked venison and pheasant that was offcuts from doing the jerky to hopefully give it a bit of flavour. I put some serrated rack seaweed in there that I had dried in my storehouse, some common hogweed powder, some sea salt and some wild garlic and some nettles. So that's going to be quite a nourishing broth to gather. So nourishing broth to drink, and I've got my stream water that I've just gathered. I haven't used this properly for a long time because the stream dried up over summer, but this is just so pure, you can just drink it straight like this. I have not tried that for a long time. That is absolutely delicious. Cheers. That came out quite nice actually. So broths are going to probably be a good staple for nutrition. And with the bones it creates a nice fatty broth that will give me a bit of energy to continue with the day. But yes, I'm not extremely hungry today on day one because possibly due to yesterday I had a bit of a feast. I went out for one last meal. The only thing I really go out to eat is Japanese or Korean food. It's quite healthy and delicious and I enjoy it. So had some beef bibimbap and some salmon sushi, and for dessert I had some vanilla mochi, and that's probably the one thing I'm going to miss is that food cuisine, but this is just as delicious. Those bones are really fatty. They've put a lot of fat into this broth, so that's exactly what I need. Fats and carbohydrates are going to be quite difficult to come by during the wild food diet, so I'm going to have to experiment and try and find sources. I've got a few ideas that I'm going to play with as time goes on, but right now I have enough acorn stores, enough acorn flour, so that should do me at least for the first couple of weeks till I get into a rhythm. And I'll definitely have to try and start hunting more. I'll have to get the air rifle out, make sure it's zeroed in, and try my luck at hunting. I haven't done that for quite some time either. I think I'm also kind of just resetting. I've been on cultivated food for quite a while and my body just kind of feels like it just needs a bit of peace, a bit of rest. And so I'm just kind of listening to it, which is something that we don't do enough in the modern world. We don't listen to our guts, we don't listen to our bodies. And when we do, we start to realise certain things, certain rhythms that we need to kind of abide by. So although I've been active today, I haven't really felt like eating until this broth was ready. I might try something with the acorn flour later. We'll see. Depends how hungry I am. I've got my jerky, so we'll probably be fine with that. So I just realised that I had this in the back of the freezer, well, in the back of the fridge, and it had black mould all around the edge of the jar, and I was worried that it had got up inside the lid and gone inside the jar, but I was lucky. I was lucky. So I've got some fermented birch sap syrup from 2019. It's the syrup, the sap itself is much older than that. It was in the freezer until the freezer broke down. I had a big freezer with 250 litres of sap in it. So that broke down and I reduced everything down into a syrup. And because the freezer wasn't working properly in the first place, the sap had all fermented. So there's that. And this is from last winter, September 22. I have some badger fat because there was a roadkill badger just outside that I harvested, and there was loads and loads of fat on it, so I grabbed the fat. So that these two things are going to be essential resources, sugar and sap. However, that tastes slightly alcoholic now, so I finished the bits in the bottom of the jars and they were very, very, very deep molasses flavour. It's really nice, but quite strong, so that's just going to be used as flavourings. Maybe like a marinade. You could maybe use a marinade for some meat or something. Right, so I've just been making something. It's tricky when you don't have your usual wheat flour or rice flour or things like that to use in baking, and also enough eggs. I had to use one egg because it's part of an egg ration that we're on, because we're not allowed to harvest wild bird eggs unfortunately in the UK. So we're supplementing with 4 eggs a week, unless we find our own nests, count the eggs, and kind of get our rations that way. So I've just put this catkin, alder and hazel catkin flour with 2 parts acorn flour. I used a bit of old starch that I had lying around. I added some wild garlic in there, some crow garlic and some nettles, sprinkled with a bit of salt, bit of common hogweed, some badger fat. Badger fat, that's an interesting one. It actually tastes quite nice actually. It's got a sweetish hint to it. We've got some badger fat in there, seaweed powder, and a sprinkle of salt. I don't know what else. So it does unfortunately taste a little bit bitter. I'm not sure that baking will get rid of that, but we will just have to find out. So this is my first attempt at doing something with the ingredients that I have at hand. I would have used 100% acorn flour, but that is a ration that we have to be very careful with. We haven't got an endless amount of it. I mean, I'm still leaching the next batch, so I've only got what's left in the cupboard until this next batch is ready to turn into flour and dry. So that's where I'm at right now. So we'll see what happens. This is the first experiment. I know for a fact it's going to be a bit bitter, but as long as it's edible, I'll get some wild calories in me. And because I haven't eaten all day, I've only had my bone broth. So yes, we shall see how this turns out. There's the finished thing. I mean, it didn't look terrible when it came out, but I shouldn't have used that much catkin flour from the alder and hazel. It's just far too bitter. It didn't taste too bad before it went in, but that is inedible. I should have just used acorn flour on its own. So unfortunately, that's a fail. I'm probably going to go to bed just eating jerky tonight, because that was just not edible at all, unfortunately. And I've lost 2 cups of acorn flour in this, and I don't think there's anything I can do to salvage it. So yeah, that's a shame. Thank you for your sap.